Swimsanity may well be pure insanity, considering it builds its entire game underwater. And that's normally the levels that lots of people like to moan about in computer games, although I don't personally subscribe to the theory that underwater levels are all bad. Swimsanity is a 1 to 4 player underwater shooting game that's available on Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PC and PlayStation 4. And you can play on cross-play across all 4 platforms online, as well as playing locally 1 to 4 in versus and co-op modes. The idea around Swimsanity is that you're on this 2D plane going across various different underwater levels, shooting away at all of the different enemies, killing them in your path. There will always be one gigantic kind of boss that will hunt and troll you throughout the large majority of the level as well. So some of them will have like elements where you're being chased by a boss, so you need to kind of clear the level in a certain time period. Others will have things like warp pads that will move you back and forth and around everywhere. Some of them will just be like you'll be trapped in a single screen. You need to clear waves of enemies before you can progress. There's a variety of different levels that will take up like an entire world, and then that world will end with that huge boss kind of coming to life, and you'll have a big boss battle at the end. That's how it works in the campaign mode anyway, and that can all be played in 1 to 4 players. And what's interesting around that is that you can have a mixture of playing with AI and as well as having human players. You can have like 2-2, 3-1, 1-3, 4-0, all of the different varieties of that, and I really appreciated it. You can then take that kind of online into a bit of a challenge fest as well, where there's 150 challenges for you to kind of kick out behind the scenes as you're playing the game. And then there's a variety of different versus modes as well, where they've kind of packed in an arena shooter style game, albeit in a 2D format, where you've got things like capture the flag, hold on to like power-ups. There's almost like a weird underwater football style game, but you can still shoot everyone with it as well as the general like free-for-all versus everyone and teams versus as well. There's a ton of content in here that you can access and have a real good time with. Swimsanity handles relatively well too. And your characters move around at pace. The bullets will fly out quite nicely. There's a variety of different weapons, and there's tons of power-ups for you to play with as well. And it all really comes together in a tightly woven game that plays and handles really well. And there's plenty of fun for you to have. I really also enjoyed the soundtrack too, which was heavy on the kind of arcade fun comedic comic style, I guess, which suits the visuals to this game too. If anything, actually, this reminded me a little bit of if Castle Crashers wanted to be an underwater shooter. It has a very similar feel to that and a kind of vibe, and Wonderblade that I recently reviewed on this channel, which is a great game, kind of feels in that very similar vein. There is one key issue though with Swimsanity, and it is that I was given the PS4 version to review, and I've never had a game crash on me so often without fail every single time I played it. I uninstalled it, I moved it from my PS4 hard drive to my external hard drive to play it, crashed again, back to the PS4, crashed again, clean sweep, deleted all saved data, reinstalled, done again. It's the only game doing it, and it does it constantly across every single mode, and it speeds up every time it crashes depending on how many people are playing. So it lasts slightly longer if there's just one of you on the screen, but you start to see the game slowing down over time, and like the frame rate starts to get a little choppy, and you can start to see the game wobbling on its legs before it goes. And I'm always like, oh no. And so I've not been able to play the vast majority of this game beyond seeing the initial like 2 worlds, because I've yet to actually get a save that has let me get to world 3 without it completely crashing and wiping everything out and then causing an issue with the save file. And I've never come across a game on the PlayStation format that has been so buggy and so crashy in my entire generation of playing this console. I can't say whether it's the same for the Switch, Xbox One or PC. I don't think it's my PS4 because nothing else is crashing really. So I'm utterly flummoxed and bizarred about the whole experience, because there is fun to be had here, but it's trying to do too much with what the game can offer. It then starts to have a slow down of frame rate dropping because there's too much going on the screen and you can't avoid it. It's just that because the levels get more complicated slightly later in the game, and if there's only one of you on screen flying bullets, eventually it will catch up to that level of where 4 of you were, and then it will crash. And I'm thinking, so I cannot in any way, shape or form recommend Swimsanity on the PlayStation 4 in its current format. And I will come back to check this over time to see if any patches or anything have sorted it out. I had hoped some of the patches that had come out since its release would have done something, because I was sent this to review quite a while ago, and I've hung on and I've hung on, and nothing has done anything to make this game remotely stable. The longest I have had this game run for is 18 minutes before it crashes. You can't do a multiplayer game with that. You can't do a single player campaign mode with it. It's extremely frustrating. I'm sure I'm not the only one, because when I look at the trophies, there's it's like severe drop off of trophies around the same points of where I start getting crashes. But yeah, absolutely bizarre. So let this be known that games can really be that wonky in current day gen. Normally you expect this from like the Doujin Weird and Wonderful scene on PC or something. But nope, fully cross-platform games have the same issues too. A written review will be over on higherplayinggames.com. I will circle back and I'll pop in the comments whether or not this ever does get fixed or not. But it's a real shame, because what's here has the potential to be actually quite a decent multiplayer brawler if you wanted it to be, with I believe there's 8 different modes that you can muck about with and have fun with 1 to 4 players, but it's pointless if the thing don't work. So toodle, Swimsanity, you're causing insanity to my hard drive. Bye for now. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.